You
said 12 to 20, so 8 or 9 years.
It was 7 seasons, 151 episodes, but over those years. So
and that was like network television, when network television was still like, you know.
It was I don't want to say pre-internet, but barely. Like, you know.
YouTube.
Yeah, there was no YouTube, there was no social media.
Right.
It was
network TV or basic cable, and that was it.
It was crazy though, because like, you know, obviously as an actor or anything that you do, right? You know, I remember auditioning, and I didn't want to go to the audition because I was supposed to film a Pizza Hut commercial that day, and I was like, Mom, we cannot be late to the Pizza Hut commercial. She's like, we'll go early. So we went in. The casting director wasn't even there. She walked in. We're like, can we just be seen real fast? I went in. I was like, like, I don't even care. Just say the words. I gotta go. Pizza Hut. You know what I mean? This is my big break. And and they call and they're like, you're Malcolm. So you get the pilot. You film the pilot. You know, and you think there's of 200 pilots a year.
Right.
6 or 7 get picked up, and then they get picked up, and only 2 of those make it past episode 7. You know what I mean? Before they get. And so I remember every step of the way just being like, whoa, this is happening. And the first time we lived in New Jersey, and I auditioned for stuff in New York City. We lived like 10 miles from New York City. And we took the subway, and there was Malcolm in the Middle posters all over the subway. And someone like came up to me and was like, oh, you're going to be on that show? That's you. And I was like, that was the coolest thing in the history of life.
Wow.
But then you still don't think anyone's going to watch it. Like, you don't know. Right? I don't feel I feel like now people have an idea if something's going to be super successful.
Well, did you know what channel it was going to be on?
It was on Fox. We knew it was going to be. It was
Everybody's going to watch that shit, dude.
Well, I don't know. You know, and the first episode aired, and 23 million people tuned in.
Oh fuck!
And then they re-aired it on Wednesday, and 28 million people tuned in.
Wow!
You know what I mean?
Crazy.
And then we knew, we were like, oh wow, this is going to be pretty. Pretty cool.
How many people were watching Jackass like season 1?
I mean, dude, it would be like the most was like 4 million
on MTV.
Well, because it was cable too. Like this was network. Like I didn't have cable, but like I would watch Malcolm in the Middle. You know.
Yeah, network TV was a much bigger deal than basic cable.
Yeah.
So your mom took you to auditions and stuff. Was your mom like managing your career and stuff?
Yeah, I don't know if she ever fully took on that label or that role, but like it was. You know, when I was a kid, I'd go from football practice to a baseball game to, you know, auditions to tap and jazz, whatever it was. You know what I mean? So she just kind of made sure I got where I needed to go, and then it took over my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and it took over her life too. You know what I mean? So I'm super grateful for her to think now of like, wow, I could have had a parent that was like, no, we're not going. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I want to do my own thing.
It's exhausting to do all that stuff. Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, and so you had earned, I'm guessing, a whopping amount of money by the time you turned 18.
Mm-hmm.
And so does that mean that, like Aaron Carter was telling us that they just like established some law that parents have to like save like 15% and put it into...
Yeah, the Coogan law. So I automatically, like, a check from Fox doesn't go to me. Whatever the percentage is, I forget what it is, goes to a trust. Like, it goes into, like, an account that you can't touch until you're 18. Because there's been, supposedly in the past, so many kid actors that they work and the parents spend all the money.
Right.
You know, and so at least they would have that. Maybe it's 15% or 20%.
It's unbelievable that they passed a law to say that parents can only blow 85%.
Yeah.
You know?
So, but were your parents pretty, like, good with the money and stuff? And
yeah,
like,
I mean, we hired, you know, business managers and stuff like that,
Smart.
you know, right away. Yes, I'm very fortunate in that sense. Like, my mom never wanted to spend any money. Like, you know, we were always very, I call the frugal, you know what I mean? Like,
outside of the cars.
Outside of the car. Well, that was, like I said, it was my one, you know, thing where I go, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? But, but no, pretty.
I mean, you could have done a lot worse though, because I also read. Maybe this isn't true because I read a lot, but like you never really got into drugs or drinking or anything like that.
I've never drank. I've never done anything at all.
So you could have blown a lot there.
And
like, did
I
life
grew
ever
up
get
at 15,
crazy?
16 years old, going to the Playboy Mansion every night. So
okay, so that's what I was gonna say. Like, so life did get kind of crazy. Like, you were like a kid celebrity. You weren't just like, I go to work, then I go home, and I'm just a normal kid. You were like a celebrity.
I didn't. I never enjoyed going out. You know what I mean? I think that's part of it. Like I went out, like I'd go out every once in a while, and I just would get home at 2:30 in the morning and be like, "Why? That was so stupid." You know what I mean? And it wasn't my thing. But I definitely I have stories for sure. You know what I mean? Of crazy life experiences that. You know,
I mean, what was the Playboy Mansion like for a 15-year-old?
Heaven.
Did you lose your virginity at the Playboy Mansion?
No, not at the Playboy Mansion, but definitely.
That he remembers.
Those I remember.
I bet. Wow.
So did you like get invested in like real estate and stuff? Like I just think, fuck, man, if I had like been better with investments, if I'd gotten like real estate like early on or like whatever, like
I did. I unknowingly made choices, not unknowingly, like just thought it was like on a whim kind of things that worked out really well. You know what I mean? I was never the type of person where I was like, oh, I got to think strategically. It was more like, oh, this seems cool. And like I'd buy a house or like, you know, I had a bunch of houses at one time and the market went crazy. So I made a ton of money on them. You know what I mean? And, But it was never like, you know, people, I owned some parking lots in downtown LA.
wow.
Which
Nice.
then you know, downtown LA from, I don't know, 2002, there was really nothing there, and now it became like a pretty trendy. There's so much down there, so I did really well there. So there's stuff like that.
You still have them?
No, I sold them in 2006. I wish I had them now because then they'd be worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Was like an apartment building built there?
Yeah.
2006 was a pretty good time to get out.
Yes, well, yes, in the sense that right before the big housing crisis that we were talking about.
But if you still had it now,
if you still had it now, like now it's things are
and like the monthly
stupid.
income from that is just fucking crazy.
Right.
You know, you have like one or two employees who take money all day from cars. You know what I mean? And there's
Like
no
a
overhead.
pimp.
Every once in a while, they paint the lines. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, no overhead.
Yeah. No,
What streets were your parking lots
we were
on?
all around Staples Center.
All around, so you had a lot.
Yeah.
Jesus, dude.
Dude, way to go.
How do you
That's
think to get in the
great.
parking lots? Who tells you that?
I'm a weird person in the sense that like when I was a kid, I wanted to be like a garbage man or I want to be a train conductor, and I always like I want to own storage facilities. The stupid like that's just where my brain goes, and that was one of those where I was like, why don't we buy this? Because even if you're only I would go like, even if you're only charging $5 a car, which people down here are charging $20 to park. You know what I mean? We could be the cheap lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're gonna have people all day coming through, and